So we're going to graph quadratic functions. A quadratic function is something that you already are familiar with because we've been factoring and we've been multiplying. So y equals ax squared plus bx plus c. Today, we're not going to graph them today. We'll probably graph them tomorrow and Wednesday. Today, what we're going to look at is we're going to look at all the different parts we need in order to graph this equation. Okay? So the first thing you need to know is that these equations are called parabolas. And the ones that we are going to look at either open up or down. Okay? So they either open up like this and they look like a U. And then this would be your vertex. Or they open down. It looks like an upside down U. And the vertex is at the top. And this again is called a parabola. Okay, so if it opens up, your vertex is at the bottom. If it opens down, your vertex is at the top. And so what we're going to do is we're going to find all the different parts before we actually graph it like this. Okay? Now, we are going to do a lot of writing today. But if you write it just like I do, they'll be really good and they'll explain to how to do everything for this problem, okay? So, here we go. Step 1. The first thing you need to do is determine A, B, and C. Can't see that. So that seems familiar to what we were doing, right? Haven't we been defining A, B, and C all along? So again, we have to define A, B, and C. The next thing that you need to do is you need to determine if A is positive or negative. So we're going to look at we're going to write A, B, and C. Then we're going to look at A. And A is going to tell us a couple of different things. Okay? If A is positive, then the parabola opens up. And then the vertex, and then I'll stop it right after this. The vertex is the minimum, what we call the min point. And what that means is it's at the bottom of the graph. So, if A is positive, the parabola opens up, and the vertex is the min point. Minimum means it's at the bottom of your graph. That's the lowest point on your graph, okay? So it would look like this. If A is negative, then the parabola opens down. If A is negative, opens down. That means the vertex is the maximum point, which means it's at the very top of the graph. It's the highest point on the graph. And that's what we call the max point. So if you say A is negative, automatically the vertex is the maximum point. So if A is negative, the vertex is the maximum point, it opens down. If A is positive, it opens up, and the vertex is the minimum point. So far, no math. It's determining A, B, and C, looking at A. Can you tell me if it's positive or negative? Can you tell me if it opens up or down? Okay, the third step is to find the axis of symmetry. The axis of symmetry cuts the parabola in half. And the axis of symmetry is x equals the opposite of b over 2a. Notice it's an equation, x equals, so you will have to put that. You guys, on the EOC, they usually have a question just on the axis of symmetry. Okay. We're going to, the next thing that we're going to do okay. So to find the coordinates of the vertex, you guys, this is, the vertex is given to you. So the first thing you need to know is we're going to plug the axis of symmetry in for x. And solve for y. We only have one more thing to write before we apply all of this information. There's a lot of information, but I think once you see it all applied, it just will become habit. Yep, negative b over 2a. So notice that the axis of symmetry and the x value of the vertex are always the same. So you guys, basically, if x equals 4, then this is 4. And then you plug 4 into the equation. So again, if x equals 1, this part right here is 1, you plug 1 into your equation. Say it again. There, no, see, if this whole thing, if negative b over 2a is 1, then negative b over 2a, this part right here will be 1, and then you would plug 1 into your equation. So when we do a problem, it will make a little bit more sense. Because the opposite of b over 2a isn't always a fraction. Most of the time it comes out to be a whole number. Okay, last thing, very last thing, is we need to find the y-intercept. Okay? And the y-intercept is where the parabola crosses the y-axis. Plug 0 in for x and solve for y. And what you need to know is that the ordered pair is 0, c. But I want you to know how that happens. It's basically when you plug in 0. So your y-intercept will always be 0, c. But how does that happen? It's because you plugged in 0 for x and you solved for y.